the high-definition production center of Troy University's broadcast and digital network and Troy campuses around the world. This is Troy TrojanVision Weekly.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. While many Troy students traveled to the beach to relax during spring break, one fraternity made the journey in an unconventional manner to raise money for a special cause. Cody Giles shows us how.
36 men left the quad on Friday. 36 men hit this pier.
The Brothers of Alpha Tau Omega of Troy University spent half of their spring break walking to Panama City Beach for Jeep Sullivan's Wounded Warrior Outdoor Adventures nonprofit organization. This 6-day journey tested these men as they walked 128.3 miles from Troy and raised a total of $71,000. Here's what the brothers had to say about the trip.
It's a long time coming. It's a big watershed moment. It feels so good to be here. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of preparation, but I think both on the part of the brothers and also the support team and our directors, we're so glad to be here, and it's really going to a good cause.
We all wanted to get here, all 36 of us, and so maybe it meant walking a couple extra miles with someone that still hasn't finished the day, or letting, I don't know, someone else drink my water if they were thirsty. Sacrificial love really goes deep when you go over 128.3 miles with brothers.
It was probably the most painful, emotionally, physically, mentally thing I've ever done. It's definitely hard to keep going. Even though your body's telling you to stop, your mind says, no, you gotta suck it up and keep going through it.
The most fulfilling thing without a doubt was the end. Just seeing everyone here, it totally made all my pain and all my worry and just stress about the whole walk, it made it totally worth it. I kind of want to do it again.
I'm glad to be at the beach, for sure. I've been waiting to be here since Friday. Definitely something marvelous. I'm glad that I was able to be a part of this and soak it all in, because it really is a chance of a lifetime.
Jeep Sullivan's Wounded Warrior Outdoor Adventures is a group I've been part of for years now, and the money that they provides us with experiences like hunting and fishing. We get to do the things that we never thought possible. At 20, 22, would I walk 128 miles? I want to be honest with myself, I don't know if I could. And to see them do it and do it with a smile on their face at the end makes it worth it. I'd like to thank all those that participated and walked hard, and those that donated. And I encourage any young man that wants to be Alpha Tau to do the march. They're all rock stars today.
Cody Giles, Troy TrojanVision News.
While we just saw how Walk Guard ended, it did take 6 days for those walkers to make it to the beach. One of our TrojanVision reporters, Brady Talbert, was one of the walkers in this year's event and documented the journey to give us a look at what went through the walkers' minds during their journey to the beach.
And raised
$71,000. That was how much Brothers of the Alpha Tau Omega fraternity at Troy University raised to aid in the recovery of injured veterans through Jeep Sullivan's Wounded Warrior Outdoor Adventures by walking 128.3 miles to Panama City Beach, Florida. But while spectators were there to watch the brothers walk in, their journey was 6 days in the making. The patter of walking sticks and cars whooshing by was all too familiar for walkers as they took one step at a time from the school's campus to the beach. Each morning, the group would wake up around 5 a.m. and hit the streets in an effort to reach the last checkpoint of the day before nightfall. A support team provided food and water to the walkers on the go. After hours of walking, each day ended a little something like this: by sitting. Walkers settled down for the night at churches and campsites along their route, but not before popping their blisters and tending to their aches and pains.
Everything below my waist hurts, and also my shoulders.
Walkers on the 128.3-mile trek are having to overcome blisters, bumps, and bruises, and are looking for a sign to continue going. And luckily for them, that sign came from the Sunshine State.
As soon as we came into Florida, we just felt the breeze. It was so nice. the roads were just easier on our feet, because by that time I'd already had a couple of blisters, and the grooves in Alabama's pavement was just tearing my feet apart.
Alongside Jeep Sullivan, Wounded Warrior spoke to the walkers each night to encourage them to keep on fighting. Through sharing personal testimonies on how the nonprofit helped them to continue trucking along.
The funds that are raised in this, it is help to get veterans that they're sitting on the edge and they're kind of, okay, do I live? I was kind of on the edge, and when Jeep offered for me to go on a hunt, it brought religion into my life and it brought the outdoors back into my life.
The doctors told me yesterday that I was crazy if I continued to walk. If it were to become fasciitis, I could very well lose my foot. But no, if I lose my foot and save 100 lives, I think that's a good enough sacrifice.
The Trojan women's basketball team played host to the first ever postseason game in Trojan Arena Thursday night. And while the game was historic, the outcome was nothing to celebrate for the Trojans. Brianna Jones has the action from Trojan Arena.
Well, just as heartbroken as I am, I'm equally as proud. The team showed so much fight, and this was a great game for women's basketball in general.
Many emotions filled Trojan Arena Thursday night after the women's basketball team ended their second chance season in the first round of the WNIT.
There were relatively low mistakes, good shooting, 100% effort, good strategies on both sides executed by players who were all dialed in, who none of them wanted their seasons to end.
The score was tied 10 times with 26 lead changes, but with just 3 minutes to go, Troy could not hold on.
To be honest, I feel like we got a little comfortable. At times, we got comfortable in the game, and we couldn't do that. But what I can say about this team is we fought until the end of the horn. When the horn went off, we wanted to fight some more.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate Troy on just a great, great game. They've had an outstanding season. Coming into the game, we knew how good and talented they are, and we knew it was going to be physical. And so congratulations to Troy and their staff on just an amazing season.
Points in the paint was a big difference in this game as UAB outscored Troy by 10, but Troy's bench still managed to have 40 points while UAB only had 20. Troy also outscored UAB in second chance points and points off turnovers, but the Blazers never stopped bringing the heat. The final score of this game was 93-89. Brianna Jones, Troy, Trojan Vision Sports.
We will take a short break, but when we return, we'll see how Troy students got some help looking sharp for their upcoming job hunts. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
In the midst of the country's current opioid crisis, several cities are working on ways to combat drug addiction, including the city of Troy. Taylor Pollock gives us a look at the latest public resource they've provided.
The City of Troy Dropbox made its debut at the Troy Police Department on Wednesday, providing a solution to those that need to get rid of unused or expired prescription drugs.
This box allows us 24-hour access. It's not just a single day where we take back prescription meds. You know, this box is available to our community 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
While throwing or flushing the drugs away may seem like an easy solution, Barr says it isn't ideal.
It could fall into the wrong hands. Somebody could see that bottle fall out of the trash, or somebody may go through your trash and get those medications. They clog up septic systems and all those, gosh only knows all that stuff combines in your septic system, what problems that may cause. There's some research being done on that to figure out exactly, the problems that causes in the sewage systems.
And Troy residents are already saying the drop box is a big help.
The meds I have are from when my mother passed, and you have so much to deal with during that time, and then you turn around and now you have these meds that they were taking, and you can't do anything with it. And so it's great to be able to get those out and get that worry over. We don't have to deal with it anymore.
Finding the right professional clothing for an internship or a job interview can be difficult on a college student's budget. However, Troy's College of Office of Career Services offers students a chance to get their hands on some professional clothing for free through a service that was back up and running for the spring semester. Aaron Dixon explains.
Shirts, jackets, pants, belts, ties, and shoes. These were just a few items that could be found at today's career closet. And the coolest part about these items is that you could have gotten 3 free of charge. And this is all to prepare students for the future.
We really hope students can find some outfits, like I said, to wear to their career, to wear to their internships. Even if they don't find something today, just to be aware of what's acceptable in that kind of setting.
The career closet lasted from 11 until 3 today and gave students plenty of options to choose from. And one student was able to give us a little rundown of all they had to offer to find that perfect job attire.
Definitely they have a lot of suits, 2-piece, 3-piece. They got a lot of shoes. Like I said, I was attracted to the ties, but they also have a lot of, especially for women's, they definitely have a lot of purses, belts, whatnot. So they actually, and I mean, I'm looking at jewelry right now. They got it all.
The career closet has been operating since 2018, where they receive donations of gently used clothing items from faculty and staff on Troy's campus. The Office of Career Services is not done for the semester, as they have one more big event planned at a local JCPenney.
So coming up, we have our JCPenney Suit Up event. That's going to be March 31st. It's a Sunday. It's in Dothan. They're shutting down the store for us, and students are going to be able to come get 40% off professional wear. We also have our career fair. That's April 3rd from 10 to 2 in the ballrooms.
The Career Closet will make another appearance next semester, and all you need is your Trojan ID to get up to 3 free clothing items. Aaron Dixon, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Pro-life versus pro-choice is one of the most heated debates in our nation. The pro-life side was being represented by the Troy chapter of Students for Life via an informational event Wednesday afternoon. Carissa Justice has that story.
Do you trust Planned Parenthood? That was the question asked by the Troy University chapter of Students for Life on Wednesday during their tabling event, which brought the Planned Parenthood Truth Tour to campus.
This is our spring tour. We have fall and spring ones, and what this tour does, it talks about what's really happening in Planned Parenthood, what they're really doing with their money. What we're doing, like I said, is like collecting all these different postcards to send to each state's representatives, and just really having this big wave of movement of showing what Planned Parenthood is actually doing. And so it's like going across the country, talking to all these different campuses, and that's the goal of the spring tour.
Students were presented with information from Planned Parenthood's annual report and were asked to rank how much they trusted the organization. Students were also asked to fill out postcards to send to state officials calling for better inspections of Planned Parenthood. Students for Life of America serves over 1,200 groups across 50 states, and they say their overall goal is simply education.
We're really wanting to just educate and inform students on, just like the sad truth of what is being pushed in our culture. One of our main goals is really just to support people at all stages of life. That's what being pro-life is, respecting life from conception to natural death. Being pro-life is not being anti-woman, it's actually being pro-woman, pro-baby, pro-life. And so, abortion is actually extremely anti-woman and anti-feminism. And so we just want to encourage and activate students and women to understand that.
Students for Life's next event is a dinner and auction at Save a Life Pregnancy Resource Center Friday at 6 p.m. Carissa Justice, Troy, TrojanVision News.
It's not unusual to see residents from around the world on Troy's campus. However, right before spring break, the global residents on campus were actually middle schoolers doing a little role playing. Noah Peavy gives us a look at what went on at the Model United Nations.
Beginning this morning, Troy's Artie International Campus hosted a group of middle schoolers representing countries from around the world. These kids are involved in a two-day event with the Southeast Alabama Model United Nations Assembly.
It is a competition for students in grades 6 through 8. Each of the schools that are represented here, they're from Southeast Alabama, and they have selected a nation that is a part of the member state of the United Nations Assembly.
These students presented resolutions for their countries trying to gain help for their citizens from the Model United Nations. The leadership roles on the committee are filled by former members of the competition.
All of the officers that are presiding over the Model United Nations, these are 9th grade students that have previously participated in the Model United Nations as middle school students. During the month of February, they come to the Troy campus and they're trained in their roles.
Students compete in several categories as they present their resolutions.
There is a best boy delegate and there's a best girl delegate.
Students also compete in flag presentation and had to learn a greeting for their country in the native tongue of the nation they chose to represent. The competition will conclude tomorrow. Noah Peavy, Troy, Trojan Vision News.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll see how some Trojan football players showed off their talents to professional scouts. That's coming up right after this, so stay tuned.
We go and clear the roads looking for IEDs. We're encapsulated in those vehicles, and we get blast wave injuries very easily inside of those things. I'm actually diagnosed with PTSD and multiple cases of mild traumatic brain injury. But I was brought up, drive on, don't let your soldiers see that anything's wrong. But I started to realize that I wasn't the same guy. Having more bad days than good days set in more and more after each deployment and each injury. When I finally realized that I needed professional help, the switch for me was my family. And my wife, Tanya, thank God, she's open and honest with me and hounded me enough times to where I did go and get treatment. And I'm so happy that I sought the treatment because I know that if I hadn't, there's no way I'd be a first sergeant right now. I know that if I hadn't said help, I would have remained helpless. I definitely think that soldiers are stronger when they realize they have a problem and they ask for help.
Now back to Troy Trojan Vision News Weekly.
The Trojan football team hosted their annual Pro Day for outgoing seniors over spring break. They included standout performances from Damian Willis and Blaise Brown. Nick Brooks has all the action.
9 seniors took part in Pro Day for the Trojans. The Pro Day had over 20 scouts from the NFL and CFL. Defensive back Blaise Brown was fresh off the NFL Combine and looking to improve on his 40-yard dash.
I wasn't planning on doing anything else, but I said, why not? I mean, it can only help, can't hurt. So they already had my numbers. Kind of forced into it. They kind of called my name. They wanted to see my 60 shuttle, so I went ahead and did that, and I just kept rolling with it.
Some of the numbers thrown up by these seniors were towards the top at their skill position compared to the NFL Combine, and they wanted to showcase that.
I wanted to prove that I'm able, and that I wish to have an opportunity to play.
I can move, I'm powerful, quick. That's been my main focus. I hope I turn a couple heads. I hope I can eventually, say I can further my future playing football. So I feel like I did great today.
I proved that I could actually run because they wanted to see me run to clock the time, and I clocked the exact time they wanted me to run.
This group of seniors is arguably one of the best Troy has seen, as they recorded 35 wins in their career, and pro scouts saw that.
I'm a strong guy, a little stiff, pretty quick.
Telling me I got talent, I look smooth. They just want to know how that knee is. They're going to put me through some things that my knee hasn't been through, so I'm looking forward to that.
They said I had a bright future and I did pretty good today. So I took it in, take it to heart. So
I had a good 60-yard shuttle, and my turns were really good. And that's the big thing, is like the hips and the turns and stuff like that.
They got me on their draft board. They said they're going to keep in touch with me. I got a couple of visits set up later on in the month.
The Trojans who took part in Pro Day are hoping to hear their name called on NFL Draft Day in just over 6 weeks and join the rest of the men that reside on this wall who donned an NFL jersey. Nick Brooks, Troy, TrojanVision Sports.
Troy University's Chinese Culture Club offers opportunities each week for Troy students to learn about China through hands-on activities. And this week, it looked like arts and crafts. Shu Ji has the story.
On the afternoon of the 20th, Chinese Culture Club held an event to make Chinese knots in exhibition hall in lower-level bigraphs. This event attracted many students from different countries.
Today the topic is the Chinese knot, and I teach them how to weave the bracelet like this. We use that to record things. For example, in the ancient time, there is no paper and no pen. So how to record the things? If you meet some big things, you will use a very big knot. And if you meet some small things, you use the small knot to replace the things.
During this event, students showed great interest in how to make Chinese knots. The visiting scholar also explained the function of Chinese knots.
Second is to express your feeling. For example, the boys and the girls, they love each other, but they are very shy. They do not know how to express the feelings. So the girls maybe weave some bracelets and also make some Chinese knots and take this as a gift and send it to the boy. The third one is for the decoration, just like the Chinese Asian clothes.
The students who participated in this event showed their enthusiasm for learning how to make Chinese knots and showed their interest in Chinese traditional culture.
We learned how to make these really cool bracelets. We both just went on the study abroad trip to China for 10 days, and we both just really decided that we wanted to continue learning more about the culture and the language of China, and we thought this would be a really cool way to do that.
周氏 Troy TrojanVision News.
Troy's Johnson Center for the Arts is home to a new exhibit that focuses on photography. Ashley Brown gives us a look at the exhibit.
Visual surprises hidden in plain sight.
This is Warren Simon's work. He's a Montgomery photographer. He's a prize-winning photographer for his work.
Simon used a fly-on-the-wall strategy to capture his photographs featured in this exhibit.
I love looking at this and thinking Warren is standing right there looking at that scene, and I want to be there, you know.
Simons says he has no preconceived ideas. Instead, he moves quietly, carefully, and slowly, waiting for those surprises hidden in plain sight.
What he describes it as he moves around his visual space very quietly, very calmly. That means wherever he is with his camera, he's just taking his time, he's moving along, and he waits for surprises.
Simon's exhibit is one of the two featured at the Johnson Center for the Arts.
And so he and Paige White, who is upstairs in the upper level galleries, have had conversations about their work. They think their work blends together beautifully. Both of them say they're calm and reflective.
There will be a reception for the show on March 28th from 6 to 8 p.m. Simons will be there to discuss his works. I'm Ashley Brown, Troy TrojanVision News.
It's time for our last break. When we return, we'll learn about this year's Student Appreciation Day at Troy University. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Mom, can we get some ice cream? Please, Mom, please.
No, we're having dinner soon.
Please.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
This is Dr. Daniel Smith. He's an expert in domestic and international economics. But his proudest achievement is connecting with his students and helping them accomplish more than they ever thought possible. That's the warrior spirit, and it's alive and well at Troy University. Feel it at troy.edu/spirit.
Now back to Troy TrojanVision News Weekly.
Student Appreciation Day is coming up next month. We'll learn more about it in this week's Trojan Talk. Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. My guest today is Laura Dove with the Troy University Faculty Senate, here to talk about one of the Faculty Senate's big events of the year, Student Appreciation Day. I want to thank you here for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And Student Appreciation Day, obviously, this campus wouldn't be here if it weren't for the students. And this is an annual event that gives the faculty an opportunity to appreciate the students for what they are here on campus. But give us a little more information about what this day is all about. So.
That's right. So this is actually the 5th annual Student Appreciation Day. We have been holding these events for several years and kind of improving them each year, I think. Basically, you know, for me, this is really all about what makes our culture here at Troy unique. I mean, I think if you talk to anyone in our faculty, our staff, our administration, you know, you'll come away knowing that the students are really the center of what we do here. So what I love about this day is we're really just we're taking a day to celebrate and to acknowledge what we're trying to do every day, but just in a way that's fun for the students, that gets them here on the Troy campus. It'll get you out on the quad in the fresh air and have some snacks and just have a nice time.
And it maybe even present an opportunity to see a faculty member in a different light, because a lot of times it's just this classroom interaction, and maybe a student just passing by on the quad sees their professor out there and appreciating them and gives them an opportunity to see things a little bit differently.
That's right, and we do try throughout the day. We usually have volunteers from faculty and staff volunteers from each college, so no matter what your major is, you will see some familiar faces on the day itself.
And so here on Troy's campus, let's talk about the day itself. You mentioned the day itself. When is Student Appreciation Day? Okay,
so the official date for Student Appreciation is always the first Wednesday in April. So for us this year, that's Wednesday, April 3rd.
All right, and so tell us a little bit about what's going to be going on here on the Troy campus. What can students expect for Student Appreciation Day?
So on the day itself, right out on the quad, right in front of Bibb Graves, somewhere around in there, you will see some tents. You will see some snacks throughout the day from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. We will rotate and start with more kind of breakfast items in the morning. We'll try to have some healthy options. We may have some pizza in the afternoon, so that's always a big draw. And then, you know, we'll have the faculty and the staff there to just greet you and say hi and just kind of stop by and just say thank you for everything that the students bring to the university.
Because obviously, as we mentioned earlier, it wouldn't be a university if it weren't for the students, but also that opportunity for that interaction, that social interaction with the faculty members could also, once again, provide a unique experience for these students who have never really seen them outside of the classroom.
Exactly, exactly. It's good fresh air for everybody.
Yeah, and now this is a worldwide event for all the campuses across the country, across the world, participating in this event. And so there's an opportunity to find out about what they're going on by going online, right? What's going on the individual campuses. Because obviously we don't have time to go through all of the campuses and what they're doing, but how can they find out if they're on a campus that's not the Troy campus? How can they find out about what's going on their campus? So.
Sure, so that's one of the greatest things about this event is each campus, each location kind of does its own thing and puts its own spin on this. You know, some of the campuses that have typically offer classes just one night a week may do events throughout the week to try to reach more students, so there are things like that. But if you head to troy.edu/appreciation or on the My.Troy website in the students menu, in that drop-down menu, there's now a section for student appreciation. Either one of those places you can get a rundown of each location, the specific dates that the day is being celebrated, and also what events they're going to offer.
And that website also is an opportunity for students to maybe get some book money as well, right? Talk about that. So
that's right.
Yes.
So the essay contest is something that has been started in previous years. We're continuing this year. Our theme this year is carrying forward with past years. We're doing Making a Difference. A lot of ways that students could take that, but students can have the opportunity to enter into that online. And the prize, we're offering 4 prizes for 4 $500 scholarships for textbooks that are redeemable through the Barnes & Noble bookstore.
All right, and they can find the information about how to enter that contest on the website as well, the essay contest. And what is the deadline for that, just in case somebody's watching this and thinking, I want to enter, but when do I have to have it done by? Because obviously students need to know when the due date is.
That's right. So the due date is April 1st.
All
so
right.
make sure if you're up the night before, keep that April 1st deadline in mind.
And once again, for anybody that wants to participate on the Troy campus celebration, because we know all the specifics of that, when and where, or can they go to participate in that? So
that will be here on the quad, April 3rd. That is a Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Chance to get a little bit of breakfast in the morning and maybe some pizza in the afternoon, and meet with your professors for Student Appreciation Day. I want to thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk. And that's what happened this week. To find out what's happening on a daily basis, you can tune into Troy Trojan Vision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30, Monday through Friday, or anytime by following us on Twitter on Troy TV News, or like our Facebook page to see online content from Troy Trojan Vision News. We hope you join us again next week for another edition of Troy Trojan Vision Weekly.